Mega Minute. I'm your host Mitch, and today I'm going to be joined with, as usual, Amanda.
Hey.
Hey, anything fun happened during the week?
Um I guess just what you already know, which is I got a cat.
Did
I
you
did.
did get a cat? You know what?
I don't know if that counts as in like, the exciting thing of the week because it happened like a couple of hours ago.
I I mean, yeah, I do. I consider that.
You're
I'm
like, "Wha You're like, that's a big thing that happened at some point in the week. It counts."
yeah. Hang on, let me. I didn't have this originally planned, but I'll just take this picture you sent me,
Oh,
and,
of
and
the baby.
yeah, I'll throw it up real quick. Um. So, how old is she?
She's only 8 weeks old.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
see if I can.
she's very small. And it was very nice because the people I got her from were just like, "Look, she loves to sleep in this thing. We're just gonna give it to you." And it was a cactus. It's a cactus bed.
Mm.
So it's a little cat bed that's in the shape of a cactus, and now it gets to sit there in my room as the brightest thing. The only thing with color because the rest of my room is white, gray, and black, and I turn around and I'm like, "Oh, that's a lot of green."
There she is. There is the bean. Your bean.
No, 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 no. Like I've said before, you're the only one with the true bean.
Ah, I see.
Your baby kitty. She's the real bean.
And
Uh, This
yeah,
is this is an imposter bean.
this is the episode where we just talk about cats for like a solid hour, and then we end the episode of like, oh, by the way.
Oh, by the way, I guess we can talk about the other
Yeah, the
stuff.
gaming shit and all the shows and whatever. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Mitch's Mega. I was gonna say Mega Movie Minute.
I
That's
thought you were gonna say mega fucking minute.
Mega. Yeah, oh, I wish.
It's the
Uh,
mega fuck minute.
um. So I know that the title on Twitch says it's called that's the Age of Calamity episode. We are going to talk about Age of Calamity, but we've got like a ton of topics tonight. We're going to be talking about. We're going to try to get them all done tonight. None of which includes the anime we've been watching, unfortunately.
I
Um,
know. We need to hop back on that actually.
we really, truly, super hugely do. But before
'Cause
we go ahead, why don't we go and get into channel news before we go into the usual mess.
Okay.
In channel news today, we are going to be doing the pretty much the same as we did last week, except I think you guys are going to get Persona on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Um, and then Gangburo wants us to play some sort of ghost hunting game that she was talking about on the episode of Pokemon earlier in the week. Do you remember the name of it? Is it Yeah,
Phantasmophobia?
I was gonna say Phantasmagoria.
I keep wanting to call it Phantasmagoria, and I'm like, that I'm pretty sure is something else entirely.
Yeah, but we're gonna be playing Phantasmophobia. I have no idea how this game is supposed to go, which is why we're doing a test on Wednesday to see if that works, and then obviously we'll be doing that on Thursday, and then another episode of Persona
Mm.
on Friday, and then you're back here at the minute at the end of the week on Sunday. So yeah, pretty much a normal packed week. We do have some videos that will be coming out, including a lot of the playbacks from last week. I think we still have like one more, and that's the Pokemon one.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and that just about does it. Oh, I forgot to get the image for it when we were doing all the setup earlier, but I want to kind of break the first story tonight.
Oh.
Well, it's not really a story. It's just what I've been doing all day. Um,
Oh, no, I thought you were coming in like breaking news. I've got the scoop. on this shit.
Yes,
Goddamn.
on the classic Mitch's Minute fucking exclusive.
Yeah, I was expecting, like, in my head, I was just, like, seeing you, like, on, like, 12 different phones, writing shit down, going, "All right, well, we need someone in the White House."
Oh
And
my
then
god.
fucking you just pick up the fucking phone and you're just like, "My god."
Well, I
And now
know
we're here.
let me put it this way. I know that the Game Awards are going on as we're talking right now.
Oh, shit.
Wait, I'm not sure if it's going on right now, but it's currently trending. Everyone's been talking about it. It's the Game Awards will be live on December 10th. So obviously we've got some time, but we'll talk about that next week when we come back and do all that fun stuff. But the thing I actually wanted to talk about was the game I've been playing all day today, which was Dauntless Reforged. So we had a lot of topics to include today, including Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, the Mandalorian, and some other stuff we're going to talk about. But I've been playing Dauntless Reforged like all day today. I'm a mix between the PC port and the Switch port. I've been kind of going back and forth. And Reforged feels like a completely different game. They completely revamped how their leveling works and how the equipment works, and it's more based off of your base stats rather than equipment. So, like, as you beat more monsters with weapons, you naturally increase their power and your own mastery over the weapon, thus increasing your damage and level. And then at level 20, you can recycle and just do it all over again. Like, you can reforge yourself, in big air quotes, and do it all over again and improve your equipment and improve yourself. And it creates a cycle of just playing the game, of grinding, and it's really fun. They also got rid of the hunting a specific monster, like the 1-in-1, and instead what they're doing is they send you out into onto an island with a bunch of like monsters of a certain level, and you just have fun, go wild with like 8 other players.
Well, shit.
It's really good. I'm very tempted to steal a stream day and just have at it on Dauntless. It's very, very well done. I will say the Switch version does chug every now and then. But I mean, the Switch version chugged a little bit before the Reforged setup. Before they decided to revamp the game, Switch port.
It was already struggling a little bit.
Yeah, so I can't really fault it there. But like going from the Switch to the PC is definitely a treat. Going from 30 frames to 60 frames, it's like a whole another like monstrous thing. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like when you're going for like a free game, you can only expect so much out of them.
Yeah. So that being said, for those at home who don't know what Dauntless is, it is a Monster Hunter style game in which you are on these floating islands and you jump onto one of the islands and you hunt the monster. Originally it was supposed to be like, oh well, I want to go fight the Shrike, so you go fight the Shrike with like a bunch of other people, and you do that. But now, like I said earlier, you just go to an island with your level for grinding, whether weapons or monster parts, and you forge that set of equipment. And instead of leveling up that equipment, that is the base equipment. That equipment, like you build the base, you build the entire set. You don't level it up. You can level it up only one other time, from my understanding, through power searching, and that actually requires you to give up your level 20 status to get a item that lets you improve that item. But that is like insane. It took me a second to get it all once I finally got it, and even now I'm like doubting it just a tiny bit. But
doubting your knowledge of this new mechanic, which is totally fair. I'm honestly, when I open it back up, I'm gonna have to redo a bunch of shit. I know that much right now. Well, because you said that when they reforged this, like they updated it, everybody got set back to like starting position.
Yeah, so it's a little it's a little weird how at least for me how I got set back. But then again, I also ran into a situation where I played a lot of Dauntless on the PS4, and I had a problem connecting my Epic account with the PS4 version. So whenever I play Dauntless, I just play on the Switch and the PC.
Right.
I never was able to figure out what exactly went wrong with that. But yeah, it's a Monster Hunter Link game. If you haven't given it a shot, it is free, which is it does have a season pass, which enables you to. I mean, I don't know. I bought a season pass once with this game. It was pretty. I mean, I thought it was pretty worth it, but at the same time, like if you're just wanting to try it out, you can also just play the game, and it works totally fine. You're not gonna really run into any like problems or anything like that. And I think that it's mainly because they are trying to focus on the idea of like, well, everyone is essentially playing at the same level, but if you buy this pass, you'll like level up faster or some shit like that. Maybe not level up faster, but you'll get more resources and such, you know, so the grind becomes a little easier. Anywho, I don't know. I've been playing the game all day today. It is a blast. If you have not tried it out, give it a shot. It's on PC, PS4, and the Switch. And yeah, great game. Let's talk about the next thing. As I've been playing Dauntless and Age of Calamity and all the other games that we're going to talk about today, I did want to mention that I have been someone has been keeping me company during all this time. Yes, there's someone who's been keeping me company the entire time I've been grinding, and that is Dr. Fraser Crane.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I've been watching a lot of Frasier. I don't know why. I kind of just decided one day that I'm like, oh, I've already watched this show before. I'll just put this on in the background. And what was supposed to be just 1 or 2 episodes is now like seasons. I've gone through like seasons. I've watched characters come and go through the show.
And you're just like, damn.
Dude, Frasier's a good show. The writing is incredibly witty. It still holds up. I think it's a fantastic show. Obviously, Kelsey Grammer is a wonderful actor.
Oh yeah.
And the humor is just it's still there. I still like get a couple like good laughs out of it, even on a second watch. On a second watch, which is I think like the most amazing part of it. I'm gonna be completely honest.
I was just hit with the sudden memory that Kelsey Grammer did his own play for a little bit, didn't he?
Oh, right. Where he did a Kelsey Grammer was on I think the London production of Man of La Mancha.
Man of La Mancha, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a little hard to separate Kelsey Grammer.
Where he was Don Quixote, wasn't he?
Yes, he was he's Miguel de Cervantes, who, you know, obviously in that play it's both. It's a play within a play. So Cervantes adorns the costume of Don Quixote de la Mancha.
Some part of my brain went Del Flamingo.
the One Piece character.
Del Flamingo.
Yeah. But yes.
And I instantly just put him in like a pink fucking boa.
Dude, the show is very fun. I know this isn't gonna be one of those ones where I'm like, yes, everyone must watch Frasier right now. No, it's something that I'm watching on the side that is really charming and fun. And speaking of another show that's charming and fun, I think you should watch this next one. Like, obviously Frasier's great, don't get me wrong. But I do think you should check out The Owl House. I am almost done with the first season of The Owl House. I let these episodes breathe a bit, so I don't want to marathon the whole thing. There is a lot of very witty humor and a lot of just very clever jokes and silly and fun. If the thing I told Nate this, and I stand by this 100%. If you liked Gravity Falls, give this one a shot. This show is really fun. If it's about it's kind of a, I wouldn't say right, but it's sort of like the base premise is pretty simple. You have a human girl who decides to, like, one day out of the blue, like she pops into the world of magic, and the owl lady Ida is kind of takes her under her wing, and she's gonna learn magic under Ida, right? And so,
Right.
crazy, simple enough, like, base premise, but then, like, the thing that really gets me is how much world building they really they do. It once again reminds me a lot of Gravity Falls, where, like, even, like, some side characters, like, they have some really in-depth lore that I really appreciate.
I mean, Alex Hirsch did have a hand in this.
Yes, he does voice a couple characters. And you could definitely just the humor is just top notch. It's a wonderful show, and obviously
Really need
I'm
to
coming.
check it out.
What was that?
I really need to check it out.
It's really fun. It is a really, just, if you're looking just for a fun time, it is fun, and also a lot of the imagery is just really solid. There's a couple episodes where it kind of gets a little dark, and I really appreciate it. We're getting to this age in which, it's there's going to be cartoons like the Owl House and Gravity Falls. They don't treat their audience like they're stupid or anything like that. Like, it's very much a general kind of adventure feel. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if you have not checked out the Owl House, that is available on Disney Plus. That's where I've been watching it, and Gang Ludo actually was the one who got me, like, really into this show. It's really fun. Also, you can tell that, like, the people who wrote this show are, like, just nerds. They're just they're just nerds, and they talk about, like, fan fiction and all that stuff.
Oh, good, great, love it.
Oh yeah, no, it's really charming and sweet, and it's a fun. It's not done in, like, a cringy way. It's done very lovingly.
Oh, okay. Well, at least there's that.
Yes.
I'm still down for anything Alex Hirsch has, like, put a little stamp of approval on, so I'm down. It
Yeah.
might be a biased stamp of approval because he may or may not be dating the lady who made it. So, but either way, it looks fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about the main title of this episode, and the main thing I do want to talk about, which is Hyrule Age of Calamity.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Um,
have been jonesing on that fucking game all week.
Fuck, dude, I have like 30 plus hours already. Like, it is intense. I got the game, was it last Friday, and I've played here and there. Then, like, some days on, some days off, I'll just play the whole day, and I'll just grind, like, as much as I can. And the thing is, I'm still not done, and it's mainly because I'm doing all the side stuff before I even touch. I'm like, I see a main scenario one, and I'm just like, oh fuck.
No, thank you.
There has to be more side stuff I can do.
That's why I was so surprised when I pulled up Discord and it said, like, your name, your username, and it said playing Dauntless, and I went, Dauntless?
Well, I'm
not Calamity?
I'm trying to space out the experience. This is I play a lot of Warriors games. I'm a big fan of just the Warriors setup. Obviously, my big one this year, I really enjoyed One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. On the PS3, I really digged Gundam, the Gundam one, the Dynasty Warriors Gundam, like, Reborn, where they had, like, the 00 boys and stuff like that. And now I wish I could go back to that one. I'd appreciate it a lot more. But the Warriors games have always just been a really fun, like, favorite since I was, like, a teenager. And I agree with all the critics on this one. I think this is the best Warriors game that's out there. They really mixed, like, everything about Breath of the Wild mechanically speaking, and everything about Warriors games, and they made it work, and it's very natural. Some like they try to do a Fate one a couple years ago, and that one has a sequel. But the problem with that one was it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have that same satisfaction when you're grinding. So a big thing with Hyrule Warriors is the fact that, like, let's say, like, you unlock Urbosa, right? Urbosa has like a lot of really solid, cool combos she can do, and most importantly, she has a very unique gimmick. As she's fighting, she develops a charge of electricity that you can then spurt out at the end of combos, and all sorts of fun things, right? And on the big map of everything you can do, part of that is, hey, if you give me like you see a little mark and it says, hey, if you give me, like, I don't know, like 5 bugs, a couple gems, and some rupees, we'll unlock another part of Urbosa's combo for you. And you're like, well, okay. So then you do it, and then you're like, okay, well, if you do this, you'll get another piece of the combo, and if you do this, like, if you keep trading in these badges, then we'll, Urbosa all of a sudden can do all sorts of really cool shit. Like, she can get multiple hearts, she can, like, have like her, like, more special gauge attacks and stuff like that. And that is the way that I think it really should be done. Sometimes when you do games like this, like One Piece does that, but it's not as good. Especially One Piece Pirate Warriors 3 try to do that. And the problem with 3 was the fact that they made it so that, oh, well, if you collect this quality of coin that has Crocodile's face on it, you unlock more attack, or if you do this, you get more of this. But they tie the attack rating directly to your weapon, and you can fuse all your weapons to, or you can collect a bunch of weapons, right, as you play the game, and then you can fuse them, quote unquote, into one singular one that has different kinds of abilities that you can customize. Like, the customization in this game is really, really solid, especially the fact that Link has so many of his costumes from Breath of the Wild. Like, that in itself is a treat. They have the dye shop, so you can customize the look even more. Also just all the characters they got for this game. Like, obviously you have the Guardians, you have Zelda and Link, but then, like, there's characters I wasn't anticipating, like, at all, and I really don't want to spoil anything, just because the game has only been fair. It's only been out for like 2 weeks, and I don't want to, like, say anything that would be like, that would turn someone off from it or to spoil them, because obviously that sucks. But I will say that, like, just some of the appearances are just really like, it's good. All the characters feel amazing to play. Characters that you'd think would have similar movesets, they find ways to keep them fresh and unique.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was actually going to ask, how is Tabby enjoying her copy?
Same. It's she's having, like, a really solid time with it. She did get hers much later on, but she's having, like, a really fun time with it. I mean, every time she's playing a game, it's it's Age of Calamity. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Because I was just curious, because I know you've been playing the ever loving shit out of it. I was curious if she was in the exact same mindset.
Absolutely, yeah. My only thing is I have to actually step out of the room a lot of the times when I'm playing, because I'm further ahead and I don't want,
like... yeah, you too. Even though you haven't finished, like, the main story at all?
I'm on the last chapter.
Oh my god.
I'm on the last chapter of the game.
Of the main story?
Of the main story, yeah.
Oh no. I thought you would have been, like, totally avoiding it this whole time.
No, that's the thing. So I'll complete all the side quests and then I'll do the main story one. That's what's been up.
No, so you're really at the end. Shit.
Almost. I'm on the last one. I think the last one. I'm pretty sure it's the last one. So that's kind of what I have to say about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I always fuck up the name. I want to say like like Breath of the Wild Age of Calamity or some shit like that.
Oh yeah.
The game is wonderful. Something actually that I also want to say is the game takes place in an alternate timeline. Obviously the Breath of the Wild events transpire the way that they do, and this takes place in an alternate timeline. And I will say that I forget that, like, a lot as you're playing the game. You kind of just forget that, like, while you know what's up, like, like there's always that fear that like when you build like a spin-off or an alternate timeline kind of game that people just don't give a fuck with your story because they know what's going to happen. But
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, that's not canon, or fucking, oh, I already know that like this shit's gonna go down, so what do I care?
but the fact that they call it like an alternate timeline, I do think that really emphasizes that, like the story beats and things like that, like it really makes it so that like, oh, like you are invested in everything that happens because anything could happen. And it's better to look at it as anything can happen than you know.
I already know what's gonna happen, or it doesn't matter what's gonna happen.
Exactly. So that was my PlayStation 4 controller that I used to play Dauntless just fall on the ground.
Ah, shit.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Age of Calamity is a wonderful game. I would argue that it is probably the best Switch game that come out this year. For me. A lot of people, it's Animal Crossing.
Right, because I was sat there, I was like, people will fist fight you.
Yeah, but like I think that Hyrule Warriors is like the game I needed this year. Like it's really just grindy and fun, and I really appreciate that. And obviously, like even talking about Dauntless earlier, like you can kind of get the idea that like a lot of games I like to play are like grind fests that are just enjoyable. Hyrule Warriors is a fun game. If you like Warriors games, give it a shot. If you love Legend of Zelda, definitely give this a shot. If you're just curious about it, I think that it's like we're gonna do a preview of it, like I don't know when, but we're gonna put a video out that kind of just shows like the first couple levels of it, just so that people kind of get an idea of what it is. But I will also say this, the art style, you think that there would be some sort of conflict, like the way that it all works, the way that it looks, because a Warriors game in the Breath of the Wild style, like, you know, obviously it's a little questioned, but it works. Everything works. The game is blended perfectly. Even like just like revisiting some of these places that like you've been to in Breath of the Wild, it's really nice. It's really, really nice. It's also kind of weird to think that Breath of the Wild came out like 4 years ago. I think that's like really bizarre for me to think about.
Yeah, holy shit, now that you've said that, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, it's been about 4, yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, so anyways, if you guys have not checked out Hyrule Warriors, go ahead, check it out. We will talk about it at a later date with more of a spoiler-ish kind of talk, but that's at a later date.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've also been playing a lot of Star Renegades. If you did not get a chance, if you didn't get a chance to watch this one on Tuesday, Star Renegades is a really, really solid roguelike RPG. Not much to say about this game other than the fact that it's
so good.
They fixed a lot of problems. Not everything, unfortunately, but they fixed a lot of problems on the Switch port. So if you watch the Tuesday stream, we did it on PC, despite the fact that the Switch game, like the Switch port, just was released. The Switch port had a lot of problems. I ran into a lot of problems where, like, I finally, like, let me put it this way, I beat that Chimera on the Switch port, and I was like, oh my god, thank you, and like I was like all like happy.
I'm done.
I was all happy, like I got the next character, like I was like ready to go to the next world. I've never beaten the Chimera before, and then the game like crashed, and every time I tried to load it, it would crash, and it sucked. The Switch port was like riddled with like all these problems, but they did fix majority of them. So the game is a little bit safer to play now. It's just really unfortunate that like that's one of the bad things I have to say about the game is just like the performance. It's getting there. It's gonna probably take like 1 or 2 more patches, but I think that it'll get to a point.
Did they ever fix the Chimera thing?
I don't know. I haven't been able to beat it.
Oh no! You're like, well, that was a once in a lifetime thing. Thank you, Star Renegade.
Well, the problem is that you have to get to the Chimera, and then you have to ask yourself, hey, is this team formation good enough to beat the Chimera? And it takes like probably,
what am I willing to go through to beat this Chimera?
Half an hour to an hour every time to get to the Chimera at least.
Christ, man.
And that's like half an hour to an hour, I say, because you might run into like a smuggler's den or a particularly hard battle or some other shit. Like you'll run into
just luck's not on your side, and whenever your guy dies, and
it's a whole thing. Like even if you guys watch the stream on Tuesday, like you kind of get the idea that like that's every run's going to be a little different no matter what your team formation is. And so like I will have to get there and see what it's like, you know, if I'm sure that they fixed it, because it wasn't just me that ran into that Chimera problem. Like a lot of players ran into it. But yeah, Star Renegades is available on the PC and Switch. I think it's like 25, 30, something like that. It's if you're looking for something to kill some time over the holidays or just during the like this winter, like give Star Renegades a shot. We have been powering through this podcast. We are
it's kind of like we sat there and we're like, all right, here's like 27 topics, and now we're like 30 minutes in, we're like, we have 5 more topics.
Fuck. Speaking of 5 topics, let's talk about Hades. Totally was not a segue whatsoever.
It's as good as the one as we're gonna get in this hellhole.
There it is. All right, so I've been playing a lot of Hades lately. On my breaks of Age of Calamity, I bought Hades the same day.
On my breaks of Age of Calamity, because I was like, I have yet to see you do anything other than Age of Calamity and now Dauntless.
No, that's not true. I play a lot of Hades when I'm trying to take a break from everything else. Hades is an incredibly solid game, and when Nate is right, he is right. He recommended this game for a very long time. It kind of flew off the radar. Like I know that he recommended the game, and it's not that I question his his taste in games. It's just it wasn't like because of like the isometric way that it's done. I didn't feel like it was for me.
Right.
But then like I said, you know what, fuck it, why not? And I actually bought it and I played it, and it's really, really fun. It's a great little arcade game, and the whole point of the game is that yeah, you will die, and like the in-betweens between your rounds and you know, and your deaths, like it creates like a really like fun atmosphere. Like I can definitely see if I didn't have all these other games to lose myself to right now, I could totally see myself losing myself to Hades. Like this game is artistically beautiful, incredibly well done. The strategy about every little thing you pick, every upgrade, it feels awesome. And I can definitely see why people fall in love with the art style, the writing, the voice like every line is voice acted. It is a delight. It is a treat. And I can definitely see why people would pick this game for their game of the year.
Can I say a controversial opinion?
Yeah, what's up?
Is this not hot Binding of Isaac?
So while I would, they're similar. Binding of Isaac obviously has like the upgrades and stuff like that, but it is different. Like I wouldn't say that
it's the randomized systems of dungeons to which you grab items to upgrade stuff.
Yeah, but you could argue that Disgaea is like that. You could say that Disgaea was the original randomized, like it's not even the original.
Is Hades just adult Disgaea? To be fair, they're both in hell. They're both taking place in hell.
I mean, I would say that. I mean, I don't know. You could say that like isn't Mortal Kombat violent Street Fighter? Like, yeah, but like it's not. Like it's just genres, you know. Is AC/DC Led Zeppelin light? Like I don't know. Like I could see it, but I also.
Your answer is yes, by the way.
Huh?
Your answer is yes, by the way.
Like I feel like, but like also, you know, Binding of Isaac, while it is like a very like well done game, and it's once again not necessarily a game I would play. It's not something that's my cup of tea. I mean,
this definitely is.
Yes, the writing is incredibly well done. It's very stylistic, and the most important thing I would argue is there's a lot of games out there where the idea is like, oh, like it's meant to be like oh, you will die, and it's like it's not very. It doesn't make it fun. You know, like a really good example is just like I'm not really big into Souls games. Like I'm not really big into like Bloodborne or like I love the lore of Bloodborne. I just can't play it. Like it's not something for me. One time I played Bloodborne and it took up like I had a day off, right? I was looking forward to this day off for fucking ever, and I put Bloodborne in. I started playing it at 10, and then I looked at the clock and it was 7. And
you're like, no.
It
No, God.
Games like Hades, games like, you know, like, or I guess like any game really can like take up a lot of your time, but I think the trick is that like people really really enjoy that difficulty, and they enjoy the accomplishment of defeating like those games and those bosses and those characters, like, and that's 100% fine. Like it's not me like being like, oh fuck you, you know, I love the baby bitch easy shit, but it's more about just like what you like. And with Hades, I feel like I can drop the game, come back to it, play a couple rounds, and, you know, as long as I keep threads and keep what's going on, then like, yeah, like it's all fine, you know. I feel like it's just Hades does something with the formula that really keeps it fresh, and that is the game knows you're going to die, and because it knows you're going to die in that interim, it really sells. Like that's the part that works for me. Is the selling of that in between. So Hades is an incredibly solid ass fucking game. It's available on PC, PS4, Xbox, and the Switch. I actually don't know if it's on Xbox, but I do know it's on the PS4.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All
I know a lot of people have been getting really into Hades lately.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people, I think my favorite thing is always hearing Nate talk about it, because Nate was really into this game, like really super into this game when it first like was in its beta, when it was in its open or not early, beta, but its early access, some shit like that. Before the game was even finished, Nate had a copy of this game and he was playing the fuck out of it. And he really, really digged it. And I think it was really funny hearing him talk about it, because he'll talk to people and they'll recommend him the game. And he's like, yeah, it's cool, isn't it? And he has to sit there and hear other people who I think he's like talked to and like tried to get them to play the game, tell him that he should play the game that he's been like advocating for like a solid year.
Oh, yeah. He's been like, I think that's like the worst part, right? When he's essentially gone up to these people who he's begged to play this game, told them all about how good it was, and then like half a year later they turn around and be like, you should really try this game.
Dude, I had something similar happen with Sora. This was like 10, must have been 10 years ago. But we were like I had 2 years before like it really like got like a lot of acclaim and attention. Maybe not 2 years, but maybe like a year before it got really a lot of acclaim. Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann had a DVD that came out here in the States, and it had like the first 10 episodes on it, right? And I bought it randomly and I showed it to Sora and I was like, man, like check this out, isn't this cool? And he's like, yeah, maybe, yeah, it's cool. He wasn't clearly like he wasn't interested in it. Year later, he's like, "Oh man, Mitchell, my buddy Tony, like recommended me this series. You should check it out. It's called Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann." And I threw something. I was so mad. I'm like, I've been telling you for like a year now, dude. Like, what the fuck? He's like, you have? And I'm like, yeah. Oh fuck.
Oh god.
It's annoying. Like it is genuinely annoying, but you know what's not annoying? Watching this show that I can't. This next one, like the last topic of the night, unless like the audience has something they want to hear our opinions on. That's something we should really do. We have like a live. We do this live. Like if you guys have any questions or anything you guys want to ask us about, like we can do that like at the very very end. Just like, you know. Like, yeah, we'll like pick the best ones and like that could be fun. But
yeah, that could be super fun.
So how we're gonna do this next one though is so Amanda, you just finished the first season right before the show started, and I'm caught up with it. We're gonna be talking about The Mandalorian. Holy shit. What a show.
Oh, yeah, no, it was fucking fantastic, and, oh my god, am I late to the party,
You
as per usual.
so tell us, so for those at home, I don't know how you avoided this one, but if you don't know anything about the Mandalorian, it's a Star Wars spin-off show that's kind of everywhere. Like it's the one of the biggest selling points on Disney Plus. Now it tells the story of a character in a suit of armor, who's kind of like the space ranger called that everyone calls the Mandalorian, because he comes from a creed of people known as Mandalorians, etc., etc. It is essentially a space western, is what it tends to be.
Oh, yeah.
But enough about what I have to say. I want to hear your thoughts on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I should give a little bit of context into my relationship with Star Wars, of which it was bastardized at a very early point for me, so I don't know that much about it. Uh, the first movie of Star Wars I ever seen was the 3rd movie of the original trilogy. And then they did the prequels, and I only seen, like, the 3rd movie of that one as well, not even the whole thing. And then my very next movie after that was the 1st movie of the new series,
Oh my god.
and then immediately after that, because I didn't watch the 2nd one, instead, I watched the one where they made the Death Star.
It's so painful.
Like, you didn't watch anything.
Like you told me, I remember you told me once that you were just like, "Oh man, I'm just not a big fan of Star Wars." I'm like, "Okay, so like, which ones did you watch? Like the last one of every trilogy."
The last one of every trilogy except for this new one where I watched the first one.
Like, I'm like, yeah, I would hate Star Wars too.
My first introduction to Star Wars was watching Darth Vader die.
Oh,
That was it. That was the first one.
oh my god.
Like like that was the oh no. Granson's like that's not great. I'm feeling a lot of judgment from the comments, but yeah. So, and then you tried to help me out. So then we watched the first 2 of the original trilogy. Um, so I have that now. Uh, and and then I watched The Mandalorian. And that you filled in like one part of the gap in my memory for Star Wars anything. And then we watched a little bit of The Mandalorian, and then we stopped for a minute because we just got busy. And then, instead of immediately continuing on with The Mandalorian, we we watched we watched bits and pieces out of the cartoon series, and you just explained everything to me about what happened. And then you explained kind of the rest of what was going on in the current trilogy. Because I was just like, I don't know what's happening anymore. So, um, I am not organized in how I have watched this huge influential series at all. Um, but and I still haven't watched all of it. But I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I prefer the Mandalorians over every other, like, group in in Star Wars. I'm really not into Jedi. I like the Sith, and I like the Mandalorians, and then there's the fucking bounty hunters, and that's kinda where any interest in that dies.
Yeah, so and as a guy who's been into Star Wars like majority of my life, and like was really into the old lore and all that stuff, I will say that like the thing that I always found like the coolest about Star Wars was not necessarily like the Jedi are always cool, don't get me wrong, But it's the scummy Outer Rim shit that I adore that stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. Hell yeah, because they're just way more interesting. Fuck your goody two shoes, fucking holier than thou, fucking personality ass Jedi.
To be fair, I've been watching the Clone Wars cartoon series lately, and they do kind of address like, yeah, some of the stuff the Jedi do isn't that great. It's not.
Really?
Yes. There is one scene in which like three Jedi Masters, like Anakin, Mace Windu, and Obi-Wan, all put their hands out. They're all trying to like almost like probe this guy's mind for information, and it looks like it's painful. Like it's not great, and they address the fact that like that was kind of fucked up, guys, and like, well, we have to do it. It's for the greater good, and it's like, I don't know about that. And
yeah, no, you couldn't ask.
It's not great, but anyways, the point is just that so the Mandalorian, how like season 1, how do you think it all went down? Like what's like the most memorable thing to you about season
1? Honestly, the most memorable thing, we're gonna take Baby Yoda. We're gonna set him aside. We're not gonna mention him. Yes, he's cute. He can't be the entire conversation. So I'm just gonna take him and I'm gonna set him aside. I'm gonna put a pin on that. We're just not gonna acknowledge him until later. So as far as like the entire series go, like some of the most memorable parts is honestly when like the Mandalorian is kind of explaining the Mandalorians themselves and like where he sits with them and what their purpose is and how he fits into the universe. Um, I also remember getting dead fucking mad, just so fucking pissed off when that one fucking random farming bitch was just like, "Oh, you should stay here." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, no, stay there. Go be a farmer. Take your stupid fucking mask off. If you touch his mask again, I'm gonna fucking stop watching this show." I hate, hate that shit. You've known him for 2 hours. Shut your fucking mouth. Holy fucking shit. The second Disney gets a hold of anything, they're just like, a whirlwind romance that'll end in happily ever after 2 fucking days.
Yeah, I didn't know it hurt you as as bad as
Oh, dude. It's been months since we watched that episode. I don't know if you remember how mad I was.
I do. I do remember bits and pieces. I just think that's funny because a lot of people I talk to, like that is like the episode that they don't, out of all the episodes of season 1, like that's the one that they just don't jive with. Like that's not the one for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see him be a cool fucking bounty hunting fucking Mandalorian. I really don't want to watch him give up everything to go have a shrimp farm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
The
Fuck right off, Disney.
the big thing with me and okay, so I guess that is a good question. What is That's the worst episode for you. What's the best episode of season 1?
Oh god. Best episode. Oh my god, that is hard. Mostly because I don't remember all of them. uh God. Shit, man, I don't know. Like all of the ones I remember with the most clarity are the ones that we just watched. Shit. You really thrown me for a
really
fucking
just
loop
fucking
here, my guy.
the train right there. It's really just
Yeah, no, you've really thrown me for a fucking loop. Holy shit. it's a very fair question, but I wasn't expecting you to just fucking throw me like that. Holy fuck. Okay, I guess I'm gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna go with shut up. I'm gonna go no, leave me alone. I'm gonna go leave me alone, I'm not struggling. I'm gonna go with the one where he helps, that old friend, break into the prison cell block.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one because it doesn't have a lot to do with like, oh my god, the baby, and oh my god, fucking Mando, you should just quit being a Mando. So anything like that, I'm
Can I
super fucking down
can
for.
I ask why it was so difficult to pick one?
Yeah. So there's a handful of them. Some of them I remember clearer than others because it has been months in between some of these episodes.
Yeah.
Some of them I just flat out don't think I could say are my favorite because they do shit like, oh, here, let me just. You should take off your helmet. We should get married. Bullshit. Or they go right into, I'm gonna punch this baby right in the fucking face. And I'm like, that's no. I know we said we'd put a pin on him, but don't punch a baby in the face. What the fuck is wrong with you? And there's just some points in time where you just sit there and you watch it and you're just like, all right. Um, I want to say another one that's really up there for me is the one where, like, for a second he was gonna give up. I think I seen his name online. It's like Guru.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Baby Yoda. Uh, I don't know how you say his real name.
Grogu.
Grogu.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Tiny little baby. Super cute. Grogu.
Right.
Alright. Whatever, Lucasfilms. Um, where he was gonna give up the baby to the Empire, and then he turned back on that deal, saved the baby, fucking got into a huge fight with the bounty hunter guild. That was fun. I liked that. I liked when all of the different Mandalorians popped out of the fucking ground. That was fun. I liked the heavy Mandalorian too.
Yeah, the
Big
guy with
guy,
like
big gun. Hell
yeah.
yeah. Hell yeah. That's great. I love that.
My I think the thing that I think really sets up season 1 so well is that everything feels like a natural, like if it was just a one season show, which thank God it's not. If it was just a one season show though, like I could imagine like the thing that really makes the show work is the fact at the very beginning of the show you see that he doesn't have this trust for droids. He even mentions an episode like was it 3 that like, oh, like he sees the one Mandalorian with a jetpack and he's like, well, I gotta get myself one of those. All that stuff kind of comes like back at the end, right? That's the thing that makes I think the show work so well, is that it does feel like it feels like a long movie. Like it feels like an 8 episode movie. Even the
Mm.
way it's shot with just the quality of everything and how it goes. By the end of the show, by the end of the first season, he feels differently about droids. He feels, he gets a jetpack by the end.
Yeah, which also fucking dope that he now has a jetpack.
So like everything about that first season feels like it's a natural part of his development. I think I've talked about this in a very poorly done previous episode of Mitch's Minute.
Hmm.
I think it was because I was the only one available for that one. So I'm just like frantically talking into the mic for like a solid hour.
I
Um,
know. There's something so nerve-wracking whenever like Nate has to leave for like a brief second or you have to leave, to stop your sweet baby bean of a cat from eating the fucking lizard.
Yeah.
Adorable, sweet baby will eat that fucking lizard, though.
Oh yeah.
Like, no cap. But there's just something like so fucking terrifying about being left alone with the mic for a second and being like, the void.
Oh yeah, no, I can't do Mitch's minutes by myself. I have to always have like someone else to work off of.
And that's why I'm here.
But yeah, that's right. No, but
Yeah, like at least you go when I'm talking, and I appreciate that. You're like, oh yes, it's not just quiet.
That's right. It's not just the void. No, the thing that I think really just makes the season 1 work as well as it does is it does just have this like natural continuity with it that really makes it work. I will say, I don't want to talk too much about season 2. Obviously, you're not there, and most importantly, it's still ongoing. And for people who I would hate to, obviously we did drop the fucking child's name, but I mean that's a thing that like kind of blew up everywhere when it happened.
No, yeah, no. I mean, I haven't fucking watched it, dude. I knew its name.
So that being said, I will just share some thoughts on season 2 real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you caught up at all? Or
I am. Today, me and Tabby watched the latest episode 6. There's 8 episodes a season. It seems like that's what they're going for. And I will say, Robert Rodriguez was the director of today's episode, and holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's something I also want to give 100% props to, is that they get all these really solid guest directors for The Mandalorian. Everything in season 2 has been so good. Every episode has a different like it's the same story, obviously. It's still ongoing, but like tonally speaking, there are moments where it is great. It is great.
Is it still holding up?
I think so, and maybe this comes from like someone who just like really is in love with this show. But I think it's not only is it holding up, but I think that I would say it's better than season 1, but it's equal in its quality, right? The first episode of season 2 is awesome. It is a grand episode that introduce like it's full of action, and it has like this really sense of scale when it comes to like the conflict they're going through, and has a really solid stinger at the end. The rest of the season has like some interesting things going on. There's like some implications of other things. So that's another thing that season 2 kind of introduces, is that there are some threads that are being, so The Mandalorian kind of isolated itself in its existence in its season 1, but in season 2 we are hearing about some things, like little echoes of what's possibly happening with the rest of the galaxy. And so this small story that's happening in the Outer Rim, it's getting more grand in scale,
right?
And so we will, like, in the sense of like how important and how these things are adding up. There's some characters that make some really wonderful returns. Holy shit! And then there's all like at least 3 different characters have come in from different like they're old faces, or not old faces, but familiar faces, that are incredibly welcomed in season 2. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
Can I just say, I know it would be an absolute shit show, but I'm totally willing to watch an episode of The Mandalorian that was directed by Lucas. Can I just have that? It would be a total shit show meme fest, and no one would take it seriously, and it would totally shift the entire fucking show and possibly ruin it. I know all that. I still want to watch George Lucas take a crack at it.
I would too. Like, I am amazed that like some of the guest directors. We'll have to go over the list like after the stream, but like some of them are just like real surprises. The finale, episode 8.
Right.
Like, okay, so season 1, right? Episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how like at the very beginning you just had that like moment where you have the stormtroopers just cracking jokes and like fucking like doing this weird comedy bit?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Taika Waititi directed that episode.
Really?
Yeah, he was also the voice of the droid.
Yeah.
So
What the
like,
fuck?
one of my favorite episodes of season 2 had Carl Weathers as the director. Carl Weathers being the mayor of the town, like the head of the Bounty Hunters Guild.
Yeah.
Yeah, he directs one of the more interestingly action packed episodes of the season, and like that's the thing. Every episode has like that. Every episode has action. You know, every episode has like something going on. And maybe it's my dumb monkey brain, but I'm just like, man, like I'm like, oh man, action, like that's art, like it's so cool, like you know, like
Oh man, action! And then they just for you, they go and a dollop of story, and you're like, oh god, is that lore? Fuck.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
In
shit.
season 2, I've had that happen so many times. There will be a stinger or something that's said that is like, oh, like that's oh my god, they talked about this guy. Like I haven't heard his name. Like because I haven't watched Rebels and Clone Wars like all the way through. I haven't watched Clone Wars all the way through. But like they're name dropping some really intense names, and there's even something that happens in an episode where I'm like, oh my god, is this tying themselves to like the main movies? Like is this like all of a sudden like all these threads are starting to connect, and it's like, oh, so shit, the Mandalorian is feeling like in a weird way. It's really awesome to watch like this story start to piece itself into the grand scheme that is the current universe of Star Wars lore. But I will say I do lose something from it.
Right.
I do
I
lose.
don't know what you're talking about.
How do I word this? Once we watch season 2, like I think you'll have a better idea of what I'm
Oh
talking
yeah.
about. But like, there is something incredibly charming, especially being like once again being as like a Star Wars fan as long as I have. Like I've loved Solo. Solo was fun. It's a good movie. I think that like it slacks here and there, but I think that it really works. And the only reason it didn't succeed is because it literally came out like a couple months after The Last Jedi, like not even like a full year. So like people were tired of Star Wars. They didn't. It's not like Marvel. You can't just pump a Marvel. You pump a Marvel movie every couple months and people will watch it. I'll watch it. You know. But like you can't do that with Star Wars. Star Wars has to be like a once a year kind of vibe. You know, like once a year you go to the theaters. You like around Christmas and you watch Star Wars. You know, you can't do it like that. I think a lot of it just has to do with the fact that like the stories tend to be a little bit too similar, or you know, there's something about Star Wars that just it doesn't work that way that Marvel does. And I love the stories that take place on the Outer Rim. I love the stories that are just about smugglers and bounty hunters and Old Guard and all that kind of stuff. And like when they talk about the Jedi and the Jedi are like fucking like mythical. Like my favorite line of season 1 is like, oh, like Mandalore the Great once fought against a great enemy of ours, like these Jedi, these fucking sorcerers.
Yeah, they called them like fucking wizards or sorcerers or some shit. These mages. And I'm like, mages? Did you just call the fucking Jedi wizards?
Well, I mean,
Fucking space wizards?
and that's the thing, and it all comes back to like a line in episode 4 where like where so that one dude is sitting in the Death Star, like, and they're all talking about the plans, and fucking he says he says to Vader like, oh well, your faith in an ancient religion hasn't gotten you the plans or the rebel plans yet or some shit like that. And it's the idea that the Jedi Order, that ancient religion, like it's all like not myth, it's all like obscure. The idea is that not everyone knows about the Jedi, especially those in the Outer Rim, you know, like
I would love shit like that actually happened. It's like, oh, can't believe you still believe in the Greek gods. And you're just like, motherfucker, the Greek gods give me fucking power.
well, and that's the thing. That's what makes kind of like the story so to know that like, because in a universe filled with trillions upon trillions of life forms, you know, like maybe a million 2 million of them were like Jedi who had like abilities that allowed them to do what they did. And even then, it takes a lot of training, a lot of time, and they only go places that they feel like they need to go, or that the Republic would send them during the Clone Wars. Like, you hear the stories. You hear the stories about this dude who can move shit with his mind.
Oh yeah.
But like when you get to the Outer Rims, like those people don't, like, that's not part of their everyday life. Like Jedis and all that shit, like that's not part of their everyday life. So why would they like give a fuck? What they do know is like fucking blasters and spaceships and other shit. Like that's the Outer Rim.
Blasters and spaceships, and the Empire is made up of assholes who like to take your money and shit.
Exactly. So like that's their lives. Like why would they know about that kind of stuff? And I think that's what really works in the Mandalorian's favor. When Jedi do come up, especially when the topic comes up in season 2, there is a mysticism about it. There is like a genuine mystery about it. Like if you didn't know, and if the Mandalorian was your first time into Star Wars, there is this beauty of how it's handled. And that being said, we will talk more about that at a later date. Thank you all so much for coming to another episode of Save Points, or not Save Points. Yeah. Technically, it is of Mitch's Mega Minute. What's up?
Yeah. Oh no, just the Save Point City. I was like, oh nope, not quite.
Thank you so much for Ferdinand. The Bean, how did she get in? Oh, she pushed the door. 1 second.
Oh no. Oh no, the void. Oh my god. Mitch, we've talked about this. This is the void. You've left me in the void. Oh no. You son of a bitch. We've talked about this. This fucking episode.
Alright. Okay. Alright.
We talked about this.
Oh my god.
This episode.
I know.
The void.
We have to be careful with that. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Mitch's Mega Minute. If you guys have any questions or anything you guys want us to talk about or anything like that, you can ask us on Discord. You can also leave comments for on the YouTube video when it eventually comes out. You can also send us some stuff at our Twitter handles. I actually don't think that they're on the Twitch information page, but I'll have to double check that.
No, they super are.
Oh, they are? Okay, well then.
Yeah, if you just scroll down like an inch.
Yeah, you can ask us questions and stuff like that, and we can come back and answer them another time or whatever. But thank you guys so much for watching another episode. I really do appreciate every time you guys come and listen to our hour-long ramblings.
I know.
There is something I do want to talk about right before we go, and that is I'm not sure about all of you at home, but God, do I miss the movies, especially this time of year. Yeah. God, I miss going to the movies.
Like speaking of Twitter and the movies and shit, something had popped up on my dash that I was so surprised that it wasn't you. I was convinced you had changed your name on Twitter. Because it was just some guy talking about he had posted a picture of like an empty movie theater hall with like the different signs lit up, and he's like and he's like, I have never missed a feeling. And I was like, oh fuck, Mitch. I mean that's not Mitch.
I mean, here's to hopefully next year being able to go and actually, like, we'll maybe come back this time next year. We'll be able to actually watch a movie. I'm the minute I can go back to a theater and feel okay, like that's gonna be like a whole thing. But anyways, thank you once again. Thank you so much for watching another episode. This is like the third time we're trying to end the episode, but it's really nice. And we'll catch you guys next week. Next week we're gonna be talking, hopefully, about the latest Mandalorian episodes, and maybe we'll even have some... my Highlander anime DVD came in, so maybe we can even talk about that a little bit. So,
Oh, Jesus, that's right. We still gotta watch that.
thank you all so much, and we'll catch y'all next time.
Catch you next time.